race 250 because I enjoy it. It's a pure racing class.
My name's Scott MacFarlane. I race a Yamaha TZ 250 and I design this lot.
Through my work, I come into contact with a lot of the top racers.
You can't imagine in your own mind what you need to do. You have to go out there, do it and talk their language.
The way they handle is just pure exhilaration.
I suppose it's like living the dream, you know, riding the GP racer.
What makes the job twice as hard is when you're doing it all in like this.
This is a Yamaha TZ 250 and it's a 95 model. It was 3,700 when I bought it. I've had it 5 years. I'm still trying to get to grips with it.
The 250, you know, it takes a lot of time and money fixing it, and you just spend a lot of time in the garage.
If you've got the two-stroke bug in your blood, that's it. There's not really much else except for the 125 versions. It's not like a road bike, you don't have to convert it in any way. It's a purebred race bike. They're easy to work on, but they're not easy to set up. And if you've got a bike that isn't set up well, you may as well push the thing around. These things are meant to be worked on. You know, they're always in pieces.
None of it's standard. And I don't know how much it costs and where it came from, but you know, it's expensive stuff.
Somebody's paid a lot of money in the past to have the factory airbox kit put on it. And there's two airboxes, this one and there's one down here. It runs through the side of the frame, through a hole in the side of the frame here, into the airbox. And with the fuel pump, that charges it full of fuel, so it's literally ramming stuff into the engine to make it faster at the top end.
250s, they're just phenomenal. I've ridden everything else and I just like the way they handle, the power that they make. The bikes as they are, you know, customer GP bike. As long as you've got a decent age, it's good enough to be competitive. It's more a question of asking what you can do yourself more than what the bike can do. Every time I go into a corner, it's, God, I wish I could have done that faster. You only find the limits when you're crashing, and that's more likely down to you rather than the bike. Well, my work is design, research and development with technique. Everything's on my shoulders to do with the development of the product, whether it be race or road.
Yeah, Scott's got a very difficult job. To come up with new ideas all the time must be very, very difficult.
This is Jeff Bostrom's suit. He's an AMA racer. He looks exactly like Elvis. And we came up with this idea for Daytona. He'd have an Elvis suit and it looked really funny. It was really good.
He locks himself away in his own private office and we don't see him for days. He's a great designer. He doesn't know how to make a cup of tea, but other than that, he's good fun to work with.
A lot of the racetrack development is done with the racers. People like John Reynolds and Dean Ellison were sponsoring the UK, Curtis Roberts and Josh Hayes in the States. I travel all over the world looking after these guys and getting direct feedback on what works and what doesn't work.
Shall I come down and see you sometime this week? Any chance of you picking the lads up now?
Yeah, I'll come on.
Really, I'm a crash test dummy as well. You know, I crash their products at high speed sometimes, which I don't really want to do, but it happens. And the best feedback in the world is through that, is through an accident and find out what is wrong and what is right.
I suppose because they know that I do a little bit of racing, they're talking to a like-minded person, so, you know, it helps them to explain to me what's happening, and that directly translates into what I design for sale, basically.
As he is a racer, he does know what's going on in your head, and he can figure out what the riders want and what racers want. And they can sort of distinguish what racers want from what road lads want.
Because if you're happy with them, then job done. We're always looking for the future, and that's another reason why I'm here and I go to a lot of races all over the world, is I'm spotting talent. The next guys who are going to come along and come up, I want to sign them up early.
career is where primarily my aims are, so it's more of a fun thing, turn up a weekend, frazzle your brain, have a good laugh. I'll give full credit to the guys who can spend all their lives out there doing it, searching from weekend to weekend to scraping pennies together to go racing. As serious as I take it, and obsessed as about bikes I am, I know it's only a hobby.
I just overtook 125 down the back straight, giving it a bit of rife because you're warming up and just clearing the plugs off. And it just went pop. You know when that one cylinder went and it just would not rev? Yeah. It was like that. It just wouldn't rev after that, just blah. So when I come to start, as soon as I let the clutch out, the engine died, so I'm jinxed.
I went off to look for John McKinsey, who knows a lot about TZs. You know, they're all similar spec, and a lot of parts are interchangeable, so you stand a good chance that you can get something sorted with parts.
John, I have a problem. Again.
What's that?
You know 2 years ago, when that little wire snapped it?
Yes. It's gone again, has it?
I was looking for a new ignition for the bike.
Right.
You are my potential godsend.
We'll go and see what we can do.
Ironically, I had exactly the same problem 2 years ago.
Anybody will help anybody. There's no bitterness or backbite or anything. But yeah, it's handy that if people have a certain kind of model, then they'll lend bits and brake leaves and stuff like that. Yeah.
There we are. Aston you shall receive.
Oh, brilliant.
So there we are. I've got that now. They'll have to lend you that for the day, but he does want it back at the end of the day.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But stick the lot on, stick the rotor on as well, because
Yeah.
they're sometimes matched up.
Yeah.
But there we are. That should
Okay.
get you out of trouble.
All right then.
Okay then.
Thanks very much.
I'll see you later.
Good stuff.
It keeps him in the garage, keeps him out of my feet, doesn't it? So it's like, no, I enjoy it. I enjoy the racing. I mean, it's a part as much my hobby as it is his, you know. So it's just going to cost us again. But as we've just bought a new car, I think I'll have to wait for these parts.
It makes it more enjoyable if you're with friends. My friend Martin, he's the one who started me off, and then Colin was already racing, so really I'd sort of choose my races where them two guys are going to be, even if it means a bit of travelling, because it's fun and you help each other out.
This is my start of the third season on a 250, and I can set it up more or less spot on everywhere I go now. And I've taught myself, I mean, it's not impossible.
When you buy a GP250, you should come with a full workshop manual, which gives you a step-to-step guide, and as long as you follow it, it's simple.
This is the Bible. Unless you're a genius, you couldn't do without one of these.
You could basically run the thing without knowing too much for maybe your first season. Just run it rich on the, on the rich side, and it will be safe.
Go on, Dave, give it right.
Bingo.
Aintree racetrack, it's a pity that it's not got the development of the rest of the tracks, because it could be a really good track. It's right next to the horse racing track, but they've built all housing developments around it, and I think that affects what that can do at the track.
Everything has to be done from scratch, so literally all we get is what's called the key to the gate. They have a bus that they bring on for race control. They then have all the straw bales that are put around the circuit, all the fencing has to be put up, so there is quite a few hours work on a Friday and a Saturday night to sort it out.
It's fast. There's a couple of places it takes a lot of bottle to get it right.
The start of the race was particularly bad for me. I didn't give it enough res, and basically the engine bogged down because two-strokes haven't got much mid-range, and everybody left me. In the GP250 class, most of the bikes have been at national level or international level and filtered the way down, so they're all a little bit older, but still very competitive.
This weekend, funnily enough, Aintree is one of them racetracks that seems to attract all the 250s. I mean, joking aside, there probably ain't that many more 250s apart from this. I mean, there's 22 here, and that's a lot, really.
250s have been on decline for the last few years now. They stopped running at British Superbike level. The guys in the paddock are a little bit cheesed off, I suppose. We're not seeing these machines raced at the top level still, apart from GPs, but their machinery is really special.
Basically, 125 racing has got to be the starting ground. And then a natural progression will be a 250, you know, something making twice the power. It's on par with the 600 performance anyway, but it's much lighter, the thing will stop quicker, it handles better than a 600. It's built for the job.
On a technical track, a 250 would probably beat a 1000 or a 600 because they can hold much more corner speed, they can brake more quickly. But if it's an out-and-out power track, then they'll struggle a bit against a 1000 or a 600.
Today's been all right. They put me dead last on the grid in 36th place, and I managed to get up to 19th place in 5 laps, so I'm pretty pleased about that.
The UK is one of the leading leather suit markets in the world, so if you want to sell 1 or 2 piece suits, you're in the UK. Welcome to Technic Research, Design and Development. This is where I work, design and develop a lot of the products that the racers wear. The goal of the industry at the moment with regards to race leathers is to go lighter and more protective. I mean, for our top race suits, for Dean Ellison and John Reynolds and Curtis, we use kangaroo. Kangaroo's only 0.8mm thick, but in an abrasion test, it's better than 1.6mm leather and a third of the weight. Having the top races is very important, and what they ask for in manoeuvrability and protection tends to be directly inputted into the production suits. You don't have to go racing to sell product, but it helps.
In this day and age, there isn't many bad suits. There isn't many bad helmets. There's just some that are better than others. The amateur racer is a very important client of ours because they are the people who go to the dealer and purchase the product. This is a complete factory contract from the parent company. He will also see the top guys wearing the top products, and his aspiration is to be there with the top guys, racing like them and also looking like them as well.
It seems to cover everything that I'm happy with.
When I first started, I went for expensive brand leathers and helmets straight away. For me, that was the most important thing to start with. Then obviously, yeah, whatever money I'd left, I spent on, you know, tyres and parts to get the bike up to scratch.
It's very easy to change the visor. We have to evaluate how much each rider is worth to us over a season.
You have to have the best. When you're in the racing world, you have to have the best. Club guys will have to put the money into going testing or, like you say, buying a new tyre. But really, you shouldn't scrimp when it's your head. It's just how much is your life worth.
The value of the rider depends on which championship he's running and at what level and status he is within the championship.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. All the way around the top, around the sides.
We're working to have the better technology inside, not to satisfy only the rules, but to have the rules as a minimum requirement.
Feels very good. Yeah, I like it.
It's a hard market. Do you want to buy image or do you want to buy something that performs?
These are Alpine Stars. I bought these because they were the best at the time that I could realistically afford. And secondly, that they look good with the bike that I was buying.
Always make sure that the outer shell is made of a good quality hide. Big companies tend to do a lot of development and a lot of research into what materials they're using, and a lot of small companies can't afford to do that. So you can put a little bit of faith behind the fact that, you know, they're big companies and they do these things.
When I was a novice, didn't know what brands were available. I think I'd heard of Day & Hazy from the television, just stuck with them.
You should always be using CE approved armour, and that's a guaranteed level of protection for the suit. Also, very important is the fit. It has to hold the armour in place.
I mean, you see a lot of lads when they fall off, if the leather's loose, it burns on the inside, or they haven't gone through the leather. As it moves on your skin, it gives you quite a nasty burn. So, like I say, these are made to measure. BKS, well-known brand, or a bit of a funny shape anyway. So,
you should always really be looking for hidden stitching, 3 or 4 rows below the surface of the suit. It's not something you can see, but you should ask the guy you're buying the leathers from.
You can have the best bike in the world, the best setup in the world, but if you come off and you don't have good protection, you're not going to ride again.
With my work being as intensive as it is, I'm not sitting on the bike as much as I really should be. These bikes need a lot of getting used to. They're not really like your road bike. They tend to need a lot of input.
With a two-stroke, it's all about optimising the fuel and the air that's going into the engine. And one of the quickest ways of telling if it's being jetted right is by looking at the stinger, the exhaust pipe. A really rich engine will be black. Actually, today we've been breaking an engine in, so I've overjetted it to compensate to get some oil into the engine because it's new. But if you're in racing conditions, you want this haze in the end pipe to be a light grey. That's when you know you're absolutely spot on with the jetting. The top professionals run it on the absolute edge of almost, you know, blowing the engine up to get absolute maximum horsepower. That's where your jetting needs to be perfect.
A basic mechanical knowledge is useful, but then again it's useful these days on your big street bikes. One thing we are finding more and more these days is that the road guys out there with the CBRs, the R1s, the GXXRs and so on, are wanting the next thrill. And part of the next thrill we're finding is that people are coming across onto the likes of the RS250 and absolutely gobsmacked, to be honest. They're coming back and, wow, should have done this sooner.
Clive Paget's done it all. He's the youngest ever 250 champion at 19. He runs the Grand Prix 250 team. And he's dealt with most of the best racers we've ever had from Britain.
As you know, Jay Vincent rode for Paget's for years.
Yeah.
Jay rode this at Mallory Park, won the Super Cup race here back in '97, and actually won the race by over 25 seconds, which is some feat at Super Cup level.
Yeah.
During the race, he took the lap record, and of course, he took the race record. My dad started the company back in '58 or '59. In fact, my dad won the British Championship way back in '59, many, many years ago. Been quite a successful family on the whole. My brother went on to be British champion. My uncle did the same. Outside of that, of course, we've helped the likes of Mike Hailwood, Phil Reed, Mick Grant, Cal Fogarty, John Reynolds. Many, many, many of the current top-line guys that are out there have been through the Paget stable.
I was the newest recruit to the Paget team for the day. Going out on this bike was fantastic. It's equivalent to going out on something like James Tobin's World Superbike Ducati or John Reynolds' British Superbike. Not something that everybody gets to do, so I'm really privileged.
This motorcycle weighs just under 100 kilos. They have close on to 90 horsepower, so we're almost talking 1 horsepower per kilo. Unlike the big 4-strokes where it's very linear, you know, the 2-strokes do have a punch, and that's rather nice to feel a punch in the backside and go forward.
The 250 class is dying out. People say it's because of the green issue, you know, the pollution of the engine, but nobody really knows. It's down to the manufacturers and their decisions.
It's not a good thing, it's a bad thing, but it's because I love my 2-strokes. I've got several old piles of 2-stroke bikes at home that I like, that I've restored, and it's a bad thing, but it's an inevitable thing.
It teaches you a hell of a lot how to ride a bike. To get rid of that and replace it with 600s and that lot, it's a shame.
I went straight from a 125 onto a 600. My build had to improve. It's not essential, just need to be strong and be smooth on the bike. You don't have to be a big guy to lug a big bike around, you just have to know how to ride it.
If you can ride a super sport bike, that's what you got to get on straight away, because that's the bike you're going to end up riding. And that's the bike where someone will notice you to get up into superbike at the end of the day.
2001 was the last 250cc British BSB Series Championship. The Grand Prix is changing, and we will see a 4-stroke class, I think, replace the 250s at that level.
Here they're looking at running GP1, which is 4-stroke prototypes that we've seen already, and then they're looking at, I believe, looking at running GP2, which are going to be real trick 600 street bikes, which they're already talking about having 170 brake horsepower.
So everything is 4-stroke now, and these are smaller 4-strokes that you can get on, learn your craft before you jump on to superbikes or MotoGP, which is also 4-strokes now. So it's just the way things are going. It's an environmental thing, no 2-strokes. Very sad, but we have to move on.
The whole green issue, I think, it's a smokescreen. I mean, how many 250 or 125 2-strokes there are left in the world going around tracks is never going to harm the environment to the same extent as the so many millions of 4-strokes.
In my opinion, working within the bike industry, it's all about race replicas. We want to sell you suits that look like John Reynolds. All manufacturers want to sell you bikes that look like they can win GPs. And 250s, they don't sell anymore, so why race them?
So how was that for a second session then?
Fantastic.
Hey?
You know, what I think is a good setup, you jump on this, and this is well set up.
That's right, because although this is a good motorcycle, yours can be brought forward, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think that we need a larger main jet in terms of fuel flow.
Yeah. An afternoon with Clive Paget taught me so much about the bike. Just adjusting the few little things that he told me to do, I was knocking seconds off my lap time.
I'd be interested to hear your comments after you've been out, but for sure it will be better.
Yeah. Once you set one of these GP 250s up, there's very few things that comes even close. Until the manufacturers build a 4-stroke that feels and handles the way this does, then I'll continue racing these types of bikes until I can't get them anymore.
Two great types of bike, one great presenter. Warren Pole leaps on board some great machines for the ultimate test of road versus race. Next on Men and Motors.